The Haunting of the Donkey Lady Bridge. In the heart of San Antonio, Texas, lies a desolate and eerie bridge known as the Donkey Lady Bridge. The story of the bridge traces back to the early 1900s, when a woman named Lucinda was horribly disfigured in a tragic accident, leaving her with the appearance of a donkey. Shunned by society, Lucinda retreated to the remote woods surrounding the bridge, where she lived in isolation, filled with anger and despair. As time passed, her legend grew and locals began to speak of the Donkey Lady, a vengeful spirit haunting the bridge and its surroundings. The bridge was nestled deep within the forest and most people avoided it after dark. However, on one fateful Halloween night, a group of adventurous teenagers decided to test their bravery by venturing to Donkey Lady Bridge. Sammy, a young woman known for her fearlessness, led the group. With her were her close friends, Matt, Alex, and Layla. As they approached the bridge, the wind howled, and the trees swayed menacingly. The distant echo of horses' hooves seemed to blend with the rustling leaves, heightening the eerie atmosphere. Sammy, trying to mask her anxiety, flashed a grin at her friends. "It's just a silly legend, guys," she said, though the uncertainty in her voice was evident. They crossed the creaking bridge, and Layla couldn't help but shudder as she remembered the tales she'd heard. "I can't believe we're doing this," she whispered, glancing around nervously. As they reached the middle of the bridge, the air turned icy cold. A faint whisper carried through the wind, sending shivers down their spines. Suddenly, a low growl resonated from the darkness. The teens froze, their hearts pounding in their chests. Matt laughed nervously, trying to break the tension. "Probably just some stray dog," he said, though the tremor in his voice betrayed his bravado. Sammy, trying to regain control of the situation, suggested they press on. "Come on, it's just the wind playing tricks on our minds," she said firmly, leading the way forward. Unsettling noises followed them as they walked deeper into the woods. Branches snapped, leaves crunched, and the sound of hooves grew louder. Panic set in, and they quickened their pace, desperately trying to escape whatever lurked in the shadows. Layla stumbled and fell, landing face first on the ground. She winced in pain, but her fear spurred her to get back up. As she rose, she saw a shadowy figure standing just a few feet away, illuminated by the moonlight. She gasped and pointed, but the figure vanished as quickly as it appeared. Sammy turned around, her heart pounding in her throat. "What did you see?" she asked, her voice barely audible. "I saw a woman, but her face... It was like a donkey," Layla stammered, her eyes wide with terror. As they continued through the woods, they encountered more inexplicable occurrences. A trail of blood leading nowhere, eerie laughter echoing in the distance, and the distinct feeling of being watched. Each step felt heavier than the last, and the once fearless Sammy began to doubt her decision to explore the Donkey Lady Bridge. Finally, they stumbled upon a decrepit cabin hidden among the trees. The cabin's windows were broken, and its walls were covered in ominous markings. Alex peered inside and recoiled in horror. "Guys, you need to see this," he said, his voice trembling. Inside the cabin, they found strange drawings depicting the Donkey Lady's tragic accident. The crude illustrations showed a woman's face transforming into a donkey's, surrounded by dark figures and symbols of evil. Their hearts raced as they heard a faint whisper emanating from the shadows. "Get out," the voice echoed, growing louder with each repetition. With their nerves frayed and fear consuming them, the group turned and sprinted back toward the bridge. As they reached the other side, the wind intensified, and the trees seemed to reach out to them, as if trying to pull them back. They pushed forward, running for their lives. At the edge of the forest, they paused to catch their breath. Their clothes were torn, and their faces were pale with terror. Sammy looked back, and her heart sank as she saw a shadowy figure standing on the bridge they had just crossed. The figure's eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, and its disfigured face bore a haunting resemblance to that of a donkey. Sammy's heart raced, realizing they had disturbed the spirit of the Donkey Lady. They had unwittingly entered her domain, and now she sought revenge. In the distance, they heard the sound of hooves drawing closer. Panic consumed them once more, and they fled, their feet pounding against the ground as they raced toward safety. The Donkey Lady pursued them relentlessly, her presence growing stronger with each passing moment. As they reached the safety of their neighborhood, they dared to look back one last time. The Donkey Lady stood at the edge of the woods, her eyes filled with rage and sorrow. With a final bone-chilling cry, she disappeared into the darkness. From that night on, the teens never spoke of their harrowing encounter, fearing that the donkey lady would somehow hear their words and return. But they could never forget the haunted look in each other's eyes, a silent reminder of the horrors they had experienced on that Halloween night at Donkey Lady Bridge. And to this day, the legend lives on, warning others to stay away from the bridge and the vengeful spirit that dwells within the shadows.